Hello, welcome to Record Sports Hotline Live. My name is Daniel Coe. I'm delighted to be joined on this Wednesday night by Record Sports' Keith Jackson. Keith, how's it going?
Yeah, not bad, Dan. Not the show that we thought we were going to deliver tonight, obviously with the Aberdeen Celtic game going off. Probably not even the show we thought we were going to deliver tonight at half-time in terms of the Rangers Kilmarnock match, and certainly not the show we thought we were going to be delivering at 90 minutes at Easter Road. Scottish football delivers again, and I'm sure we'll now discuss what this means going forward, because, you know, Hearts slipping up. They're going to the bogey ground in Paisley yesterday. Rangers have cut the gap. Celtic have been kind of rained out of action. So, you know, it's once again, fascinating and all to play for. But obviously we're joined by Scott McDermott, who was at Ibrox, and perhaps you can talk me through that Bermuda Triangle of a 90 minutes, Scott.
Honest, I get up with football sometimes. This is crazy. Well, to sum it all up, I mean, Rangers were basically booed off at half-time despite being 1-0 up.
In a championship race.
Exactly. They were absolutely honking for about an hour of this game, and they end up winning 5-1. You couldn't make it up. But ultimately, as you say, you know, they got the job done. They initially certainly made hard work of it, but they've closed that gap on Hearts, which was the prime objective at the start of the night. And as I'm sure we'll discuss, one of the big kind of game changers was some of the new boys coming on, the subs coming on, and that really helped Rangers get the victory. Can I feel for Killie a wee bit? Killie reduced to 10 men after 5 minutes. I actually thought for an hour Jack O'Kelly did really well. Neil McCann set them up brilliantly.
Scott, it was actually 3 minutes. The foul for Don Thompson is given on Gassama. What was your thoughts on that? I mean, I don't think there's any argument over the penalty kick. Does he need to get sent off? Does David Dickinson need to send him off for that one? I'm not sure, you know. And I think it's obviously had a material impact on what followed.
Yeah.
To have to play that game for 87 minutes with 10 men is a nightmare for them. And I'm just not sure that's a red card.
Well, I mean, listen, I've only seen it once live, and you know where the gantry is at Ibrox, Jack, and I'm on the kind of Copeland Road end, so I'm right at the point of the instant, and I just immediately thought he had to go, just because it was such a good goal-scoring opportunity for Rangers. The move itself, by the way, was absolutely brilliant, because Rangers, we've talked on here about Rangers lacking creativity. That early pass for Jaden McGoma inside to Mikey Moore, the run and the pass inside Dom Thompson for Gassama to run on, it was brilliant, and exactly what Rangers have been lacking. So from their point of view, I thought it was excellent. I think Thompson obviously gets caught wrong side.
Yeah.
Is he a wee bit unlucky? Of course he is, because he's no skived him down. No, he's
actually
bundled into him. Yeah, exactly.
As you said, he's got the wrong side of him. He's turned round, and it's a collision.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any intent for him to bring him down. It's just that it is a collision. It's definitely a penalty kick. And I suppose the argument will be it's a goal scoring opportunity, therefore it has to be a red. But there's a bit of double jeopardy there, isn't there? I just don't know. Maybe it is by the letter of the law. I just think it was really harsh in Kilmarnock.
It was cruel on them, because, as I say, they actually went on after that and played well in the game for an hour. I mean, Bruce Anderson misses an absolute sitter in the first half.
He's got to score.
I mean, about 8 yards out. As I say, I thought McCann just reshaped him brilliantly. Normally, the left back gets sent off, he immediately puts a sub on, but he didn't. He just rejigged things. Puts Brad Lyons at right back. There's a wee bit of shuffling about. Boy John Jules, who I thought was really good, came over to the left-hand side, and they were coping well with Rangers. Rangers took the foot off the gas, and that's why the crowd were getting so anxious and so angry, to be frank, at the half-time whistle. As I say, it wasn't like massive boos as they were getting off, but there was real jeers and groans, which for a team winning 1-0, going for a title, seems so unusual. But it's just the way it is at Rangers at the minute. The atmosphere here isn't the atmosphere of a team going for titles. You think years ago, when Rangers and Celtic were going neck and neck for titles, the atmosphere at both of these grounds was electric. Even for just games against other opposition in the league because it was so tight. Yet here we are, we've got a 3-horse race. Rangers have somehow managed to claw themselves back into it when it looked as if all hope was lost at the start of the season. You would think the whole place would just be alive, but it's not. And if you're looking for reasons for that, I suppose you have to point to the performances. The performances as much as the victories.
I've got a theory.
Yeah.
And I've been saying, and I've taken a bit of stick for it, but I've been saying for a while, this Rangers side doesn't resemble a Rangers side which is fit to win a league title. Because Rangers fans have been around for long enough. They've seen it. They're in that stadium tonight. They see it with their own eyes. They know that what they watched over that first 45 minutes, that's not a title-winning side.
You're right.
I'll go on to say, right, see if I actually took notes, and I'd say Butland was maybe going to get pass marks, but kind of wrecked that for himself. And he was only getting pass marks because it was a clean sheet. And he wrecked that with a kind of brain melt later on in the match to give Kilmarnock a way back in. I'm now looking through the rest of that starting 11. So Butland's not, Tavernier's not, Giga's not, Suter get pass marks, Magoma didn't, Raskin and Diomande did, Sama didn't, Asgard didn't, Moore absolutely did, Majowski didn't, despite his goal. So there you are, a starting 11 and 1, 2, 3, 4 players get pass marks. That's why Rangers fans are looking at that thinking this isn't anywhere near good enough to win a title. I think that's why the frustration's there. I think the fans are looking at these players and they don't believe in them. They're scared to trust them because they've been in this movie so many times and it's ended badly for them. And I think we need to be careful here in terms of, overreacting to it because, as I said, Kilmarnock down to 10 men for that length of time. It was always going to be hard work for them in the second half. But Scott, I completely agree with you. I thought the subs changed the whole nature of that Rangers performance, the energy levels, the sort of the drive, the directness, the fact that all of a sudden you had players that wanted to impact the game, whereas Mikey Moore for most of that match and Raskin and Diomande had probably been the only three that looked as if they wanted to grab the game by the scruff of the neck. All of a sudden, once those subs come on, I think you had 5, 6 players in that outfield 10 that all wanted the ball, all wanted to show for it and all wanted to do something. That's a big difference. And I think that's why the mood, I can only imagine the mood on 90 minutes is entirely different from what it was on 45.
100%. And as you've touched on there, it's not necessarily about quality. It's about intent. It's about desire. It's about hunger. It's about appetite. That's what the fans feed off. Yeah. Every time Moore got the ball tonight, he was direct. He wanted to run at his opponent. He wanted to impact and influence the game by making something happen. And the fans get excited by that. Every time he got the ball, they're up and they think something's going to happen. Compare that to an Asgard or a Majowski, for instance, for most of this game. You see players just go through the motions. Yeah. And exactly, the fans aren't daft. This isn't just any normal season. This is actually going for a title, and fans find it hard to, because they're so up for it, the kind of title fight. You find it hard to understand why players look as if they look disinterested at times. I mean, tonight for an hour, Killie wanted that game more than Rangers. Killie fighting for their lives at the bottom. They wanted it more. There was a couple of occasions, especially in the first half, Rangers players pulling out of tackles, lazy, going for loose balls. Killie were chasing everything down. And you're right, I mean, Rangers obviously deserve credit for getting the 5 goals. The subs made a massive difference. Totally agree. Roman, Scott Wilson, Nadiri, they all had an impact coming on. But a big part of that's Killie tiring towards the end. I actually said to Andy, and you thought him sitting next to me, that we were being critical of Rangers' performance after like 65, 70 minutes. I said, wait to see this, they'll end up scoring 2 or 3 late on, and it will kind of change the whole complexion of the game. But in terms of reporting on it, you can only say what you see. And as you said, Jacko, for an hour of that game, no, that's not going to be good enough to win Rangers a title. And you think, we were talking about it just before we come on air, that the next game for Rangers away to Motherwell Motherwell's form at Fir Park is incredible at the moment. What a game that's going to be, but you're looking at those new boys coming on and the difference they made. I mean, I don't know what Danny Roll's thinking, but I bet you every fan in here's thinking these guys have to start in that game. They have to come straight in. Romans, Scott Wilson, even Chukwani, who didn't go on the pitch tonight, you think he'll start, and Nadiri up front with another week and a cup tie obviously at the weekend. You think he'll be ready to go for at Fir Park. So it's going to be really interesting.
Well, we've obviously been contacted by a lot of Rangers fans, and if you're watching at home, you want to get involved in the conversation, please do so. And that is the theme, Scott. A lot of them absolutely buzzing, particularly with Tur Romans. I'll come to that in a wee minute, but Sean says, I mean, it's hard to argue when they won 5-1 in the end. It took Rangers about 60 minutes to get hold of that game. Really awful performance for an hour. Bengal says, Asgard can't play for a while until he figures out how to play football. Luke Skywalker says 25 minutes of Tur Romans. I'm already in love. Bookmark this. He will go for big money. Tommy echoes that, saying he looks the business. Good finish from Scott Wilson and Ant-Man. Luke again says new players will make a huge difference. Hopefully the likes of Asgard and Gassama will get their fingers out. Roman strolled that 21st century Jan.
That's a blast to the past.
I've got to say as well, I think James Tavernier, obviously another goal tonight, I think he takes a bit of stick. But Alistair Ramage, his campaign to get Tavernier out the side is going strong. So it's great to see Tavernier being subbed in. We go into overdrive. And just quite simply, John finishes it all off by saying, who cares? It's 3 points. That's all that matters. And I'm sure that's a sentiment that Danny Rill will be thinking tonight.
I'm not sure that sentiment was shared inside that stadium tonight at halftime. I think that the Rangers fans aren't daft. They know what they're watching. And they know that wasn't good enough. And they know that if Rangers go out and put on that standard of performance, they've got no chance of winning the league. I think they then look at what happened towards the end of the game, and all of a sudden they'll be walking away from there with a spring in their step thinking, oh, well, that's a different story. And I think Roman's made a big contribution to that. I think you have to be very careful. That's the first that anybody's seen of him. And also, he wasn't tested in any way defensively. He was able just to motor down that left-hand side. What I think was very impressive about him was his energy levels, his determination to get into these final third areas, and then once he did get there, his composure and his accuracy with his deliveries from these. So everything about that makes you think he's probably an upgrade, and he's a bit more physical than Magoma. But certainly in terms of just desire to get on the pitch and make a difference, I think that's a massive thing. And yes, he was really, really impressive. In fact, was it not for the fact that Mikey Moore had been so outstanding, you might have had an argument to say that Romans put in a kind of almost man of the match performance. He was so impressive down the left-hand side. But against the Kilmarnock side that was down to 10 men and tiring, and he had nothing really to do defensively. I tell you who caught my eye was Nadiri. And I know that he's missed a right good chance. I'm sure he'll know he should have scored it. But just in terms of his energy levels, his movement, he looked quite rapid for a big guy as well, I thought. But also, I was watching when the ball was getting into wide areas in the last 10 minutes or so. The runs that he was making into the penalty box was like nothing I've seen from any other Rangers striker this season. He was attacking dangerous areas in the penalty box. I think from that early showing, again, it's a cameo. There'll need to be a bigger body of evidence. But I think there was a lot for Rangers fans to look at there and think that this is a really interesting signing.
I agree, Jack. I mean, it is a small sample size. You've only seen him for the first time tonight, but I like the look of him. He looks all action. He looks as if he's got a desire to not just get in the box, but get on the end of things. He obviously missed a good chance. He'll be disappointed putting it just past the post. But I think about it the weekend, Rangers when there's Shamiti up front tonight, Majowski, certainly in the first half. And these guys aren't even getting chances. You know what I mean?
They're not taking up the right position.
Aye, exactly. Nadiri's come in and he's only had 25 minutes, and he immediately gets a gilt-edged chance. So I think the signs are pretty good. I agree with you. No, you can tell he's a grafter right away. As soon as he came on, he was chasing down the keeper. He's chasing loose balls into the channels, and it sounds daft, simple things like that get the fans behind you. It was only on a couple of minutes, and it felt as if the fans were already behind him. They like the look of him. So I'm assuming he'll get another game against Queen's Park at the weekend, to get him kind of more up to speed. If he even needs to get up to speed, because remember, this guy, as Danny Rowe pointed out the other day, he played for Hansa Rostock last week. He played 90 minutes. The week before that, he had 90 minutes, scored a goal. He should be match ready, and he certainly looked like that when he came on tonight.
I think that the big contrast, Scott, is these Rangers fans have been watching Chermiti since the start of the season, and he sort of kind of shrugs and huffs and puffs his way through games, doesn't he? And you wonder, and I'm not saying he doesn't work hard. I think there are signs that he works hard, but there's a kind of lethargic look about what he does a lot of the time. And I thought you saw in just that short cameo tonight, this boy was all energy, all at him. And I think that the just fans in general in Scotland wanted that sort of player. Somebody that's not leaving anything out in the pitch. Chermiti, I think you look at a lot of the times and think, did you really, empty the tank there? I think I used to say the same. The big boy at Celtic, Dan.
Shvanchara?
No, the 9 million striker that's now left.
Adam Ida.
He frustrated the life out of me because I felt very similar. I'm thinking, I think there's a lot of stuff you've got, a lot of tools. But I was never convinced that the actual desire, the work rate, the application was there. And I think I'm drawing a similar level with Chermiti, although he doesn't score as many goals as Adam Ida did. But I think that this looks like a very different profile of player. And I could understand why Rangers fans would look at that and think, well, if you can build on that, you might make a real telling contribution here. So I think from half-time at Rangers tonight, a lot of fans looking at going, this team's never winning this title. And then they'll walk away at the end with reason to believe if you get these new guys into the team, if you bed them in, if you give them the game time, they could improve Rangers' chances. And you're looking at 4 starting places out the outfield 10 here. So that's, almost half the team upgrade in the January window. And it's now a matter of how much can they upgrade it. And I think the early indicators from that tonight, where Rangers fans have got reason to believe that they might be significant upgrades.
You talk about the different profiles there, Jack, when you're right, and a lot of people are obviously mentioning Romans. Similar like we were saying about Chermiti, the Rangers fans have watched Jade Magoma all season, and it's not a criticism of Magoma. He's actually done okay. This is a 19-year-old kid on loan for Brentford, and I think in general Rangers fans would say, yeah, he's a decent player, looks okay, he's done a good job for them. But then Romans comes on, and you can almost see the fans going, oh, wait a minute, all right, that's a different physical specimen. A different profile, a left back, a guy that's 3-4 years older than Magoma. Physically,
21, 22, Scott, isn't he?
22 years, 22. Physically, looks stronger than Magoma. Looks more. The funny thing is, when Roman signed, I think the general kind of information was that he was a bit more defensive. He was going to be a guy, kind of back 4, defensive style left back. He didn't look like that when he came on tonight. He looked as if he's more than willing to power forward and get up the left-hand side. So I think you're right. I think fans are looking at these new players who have come in and saying, oh, they actually could take us up a level here. Some of these players that we've been watching have done okay, like Magoma, like Chermiti. Chermiti's been disappointing, let's be honest, but he's put a bit of credit in the bank with 2 goals against Celtic at Parkhead, which he's been living off ever since. But they're now looking at these new guys and thinking, no, this could actually be a big bearing on us, seriously challenging for this title. And as one of the callers said there, Danny Rowe's got to get these guys starting as soon as possible and getting them, get them motoring, because they can't afford another 45, 55 minutes like they had tonight. I mean, if they play like that for 50, 55 minutes against Motherwell at First Park, they'll be 2 or 3 down. the way Motherwell playing. So it's really important he gets these guys bedded in as soon as possible.
There's a few people in the comments debating Rangers title credentials. A couple of comments that have caught my eye. AF Scott says they were 13 points behind Hearts, now it's 3. Hearts had their chance to put the foot down when they were 13 clear of Rangers and 8 of Celtic. That league will continue to be cut out and they'll finish 3rd. And this one as well from Tommy. He says that he agrees with you that Rangers don't look a title winning side, Keith, but he says, I'm not sure Hearts or Celtic look title winning sides either. It's a very weird season.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
I agree with that.
Even though I agree with that in principle, I still think that Rangers needed, if they were going to be serious contenders in the second part of this season, they needed upgraded quality. And it's too early to say definitively that they've got that, but the signs tonight look good. And I thought, even to be fair, Scott, I panned Scott Wilson after his, what I thought was a pretty limp contribution at Easter Road.
Yep.
He came off the bench looking a lot more lively, a lot more direct, a lot more dangerous, actually, in the final third, and scored a cracking goal, which should help his confidence. So, yeah, on a night when at half-time it felt like a negative, even if Rangers did stumble onto the 3 points, I think that the way that game ended tonight will lift a lot of spirits heading into another crucial kind of week ahead. As you said, Scottish Cup. But then Third Park, and then Hearts at Ibrox. And it's a massive few days for Hearts. They've got the weekend off. They're stinging because of what happened to St Mirren last night. But they've got the Edinburgh Derby on the Tuesday, and then Ibrox at the weekend. And they'll be looking at that going, well, do you know what? People are looking to doubt us. People are looking to knock us over all the time. But if Hearts can come out of these 2 games with 6 points, what does that say? Where does that leave everything?
Absolutely.
So you know, it's just genuinely thrilling to be sitting here watching this, because Scottish football has been devoid of real, genuine excitement at this end of the season. 3 teams going at each other, and it could go any way of 3 right now. It really could.
We're going to talk, obviously, about Hearts' defeat at St Mirren last night, and of course, Hibs with a dramatic win over Dundee United this evening. But see, before we do that, Scott, there's a loving in the comments for Mikey Moore. I mean, Paperboy sums it up, says, Mikey Moore needs a 5-year contract. Make it happen. Look, personally, from my point of view, I think he's grown, and I think he's a brilliant footballer. Do you think there's any prospect of him potentially being back here next season?
I do, but knowing a 5-year contract, I think there's a chance that Rangers could maybe get him on another loan, Daniel. I think that's probably their best hope. But I agree, I think Mikey Moore's been one of the kind of bright sparks, and he's still, look, he's nowhere near the finished article. Obviously, he's only, 18? He might only be 18, 19. And as I say, for a boy like that, at that age, even in this game tonight, to really take that responsibility and grab the game by the scruff of the neck so early and essentially get Rangers a goal with his creativity, I think tells you a lot about him. And we've interviewed him a few times, obviously, since he's come up here. And again, at 18, just talks so well. You compare him to other young players, talks really well, very confident in his own ability, but kind of humble with it as well. Just seems like a really good guy to be around the place. And I think listening to Danny Rowe and listening to Mikey Moore, the two of them have struck up a really good manager-player relationship. I think Rowe looks at him and sees obvious real potential there, and somebody who's got a lot of development in his game, somebody he can work with and make better. I think he's already done that. And I think Mikey Moore probably looks at Danny Rowe and thinks this is a coach that can really get the best out of me. But he's so highly rated at Spurs. He's so highly rated down in England, full stop. I think you're talking big money to get him on a permanent deal to Rangers.
I don't think Rangers could even look at that, Scott. I think
I'm the same.
They might be able to convince Spurs that it's a good idea for his development to give him another year, whereas he's going to be playing most weeks. And I actually think that's a fairly valid argument as well. And Spurs might see the sense in it. But in terms of
Champions League as well, Keith.
Yeah, well, that's a long way off, yeah. in terms of what might be best for his development, there might be a proper argument to be made there that another season in Scottish football would be good for the boy. But in terms of being able to actually buy him on a permanent deal, Rangers couldn't get close to the numbers. Because you can see the level of player that Spurs realise that they've got in their hands there. And what I love, Scott, I have to say, is it's one thing having the ability and the talent and the technique and all these attributes which he's got in abundance. What I find really surprising was at weekend at Easter Road and again tonight, there's a wee guy, he's 18 years old, and he's walking out into a high pressure situation and he's saying, give me the ball, let me do this.
Yep.
And he realises the urgency that needs to be applied. So I think he's got so much going for him. If Rangers could get him for another year, I think they'd be absolutely thrilled with that. But the more he develops, the better he looks from game to game, the more Spurs will be looking at it thinking, well,
exactly.
Can he not make an improvement to our first team?
Yeah. I'm sure if you ask Danny Rowe just now, he would want to be asking that question of Spurs right now to try and get him back next season. No doubt in my mind. But Jackie says there's so many variables to that. I mean, who knows? Is Thomas Frank still going to be Spurs manager come the summer, come next season? Where are Spurs going to be? Do they look at what Mikey Moore's done at Rangers and think, right, he's ready to make the step up? They might even see Scotland as the kind of first loan move for him, but then they might think, what it's like in England, they might see a move to a championship, a top-end championship club has been the next step from who knows. But if you're listening to Mikey Moore, he loves it here. I think he knows this is been really good for his development. And by that, I even mean at the start of the season when it was really tough for every Rangers player under Russell Martin and results weren't going their way. I think if you ask him, he'll say, that really helped his development as a player and as a person. So, look, I think Rangers fans would love to get him back for another year, and that might be possible given how well he's done. But it all depends what Spurs think at the end of the season and where they are and who's in charge.
Time's got away from us, guys. You can see on the screen there that John says between the title race and the transfer window, I've seen you guys three guys more the last month than my family. John, good to have you aboard. Keith, we mentioned Hearts getting beat last night at St Mirren. I think we can hear from Derek McInnes. Let's have a listen to the Hearts manager and see what he thought after the game.
When we go out to 10 men, I think there's a belief there that we can go and get results. Obviously against St Mirren last time out and against Dundee. And I think that showed in the performance when we went out to 10 men. But we've got to own the fact that we can't keep getting away with that. You can't keep playing with fire. And it's a red card. There's no complaint about that. But we caused it. We got ourselves into a fan hole. We've got to play forward. We had 2 opportunities to play forward. And we get ourselves in a bit of a state. And it culminates in a last gasp challenge. And we've paid for it. Because from that point in, it probably takes away the chance, although it's a slight chance still, because we've done it before, of winning the game. But at that point, it was just making sure we keep it to 0 for as long as we can and then hope for a moment. And as I say, from that, we were good. We were good after that.
The additional frustration being that Craig's now going to miss the derby next week as well.
Yeah, and there is a consequence of that. We spoke about that. It's not only do you put extra stress on the lads that are playing, but there's a consequence of that when you're without key players for games. We've already spoke about injuries and suspensions and getting through that. Our coping mechanisms have been brilliant so far. But listen, it's hard to criticise. There's no criticism of players once we get 10 men. We were terrific in terms of what I expect from them and what was shown over a period now. But we got top of the league we've been top of the league by being something, and teams need to know that if they want to come after us, we're going to put it in behind you, we're going to run, we're going to try to put stress on their back line, and then you just might earn the right to play a wee bit more.
James Wilson left. What did you make of that move, and were you kind of conscious of not letting him go just to keep the striker options?
Yeah, so James wanted to go, as we said, so you don't want to keep a player who then has been unhappy, that couldn't guarantee him minutes, such as the way it's been. But I told him, Claire, his agent, knew that our preference was to stay, fight for your place, be part of something. get you loan in Scotland if need be, if we need to talk to him minutes something, and we could maybe recall you. So you still get the best of both worlds. But his head was turned with the Tottenham thing. First of all, it was Arsenal, then Arsenal went quiet, and then all of a sudden Tottenham came to the table yesterday afternoon. So, you know, I don't think it's the right move for him. Ultimately it's academy football, and I think he's better than that. But it was something James wanted to do. So, like I say, and we made it clear that our preference was for him to stay and be part of something here. But he made a decision, and I hope it goes well for him, because he's a great kid. And we'll see how it plays out. But for us, I just need to concentrate on the players who are here and who want to be here and who want to play their part.
Guys, see, just on James Wilson, right? I might be being really naive here. You can tell me. But see, even going to play for Spurs Academy, is that still going to make him life-changing money? Is that why he's done it? Because otherwise, I'm struggling to understand why you would want to swap first-team football with Hearts, a title challenge. He's already got a Scotland cap, to go and play in Premier League 2.
Listen, we're just having a conversation there about Mikey Moore. Mikey Moore's gone the other way to come up from academy football at Spurs, and he was on the fringes, to be fair to him, with the first team and playing. You know, he got a few appearances in Europa League.
Aye.
But for Mikey Moore to achieve his potential, he wanted to play man's football, and he wanted to come. And if you look at the difference in the few months with Mikey Moore, when he first came up here, he looked like a lost kid, and that was perfectly understandable. But it looked as if it was going to be too big an ask for him. But look at his development over 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, whatever it's been. And I worry that James Wilson is going to go the opposite way. There will be money involved. There'll be agents involved saying, oh, come on, what an opportunity. Do you know what my worry is for James Wilson? Hearts, he's just walked away from a club which is on the brink of something truly historical. And you look at the performance at St Mirren last night, would if he would been on the bench, might he got the call? Might there be a moment between now and the end of this season where James Wilson scores a goal of monumental importance that would secure his place as a legendary figure in Scottish football? And he's chucked that away to go and play in academy. Look, do you know what? Albert Kidd had an okay career, right? But we all still know his name 40 years on because of what he did, his contribution to a thrilling title race. And James Wilson had that opportunity. If he'd stayed around, hung around, fought for his place, Kabori didn't do a brilliant job at St Mirren the other night, he might have got his turn.
Mm-hmm.
Lon Shanklin's still out. He could have scored some really important goals. He had the opportunity, even just by being there. You might go off the bench. You might end up scoring the goal that wins a match or wins a point that wins a title. I think he's been badly advised. I agree with Derek McInnes.
I think so as well.
I think Derek McInnes pretty much kind of nailed it in that interview, Daniel, in terms of, you know, for James Wilson's career. I just thought, I understand why he's frustrated at not getting minutes, but surely you go somewhere in Scotland and play. You know, Derek McInnes said he could have had a recall option if Hearts were short. You know, they could have called him back at any point. To me, that would have been the kind of logical move for him. And I mean, Jack was talking about Mikey Moore there. Look at the boy Devaney last night that played for St Mirren, his debut. He's a Man United captain in that under-21 PL2 league. And you look at that boy after the game, and he absolutely loved it. He couldn't believe the difference between going for that at Man United, or it's a massive, massive club and everything that goes with it. But going for that into a game, well, let's be honest, the St Mirren Hearts game, there wasn't a lot of quality involved. But I tell you what, it'd have felt as if it was a proper man's game of football. And that's why he would have made that move for games like that. And I'm sure Devaney will be a lot better for it. He looks a really decent player. I think he get man of the match in most places the other night, and I think he'll be a really good player for St Mirren. And that, as I say, that's why That's why he's left Man U to play at St Mirren, because he wants to play proper football. And I just think if you listen to most people talking about PL2 and what that is down there, it's not a great level. It's not a great standard in terms. No, the standard of football will be pretty good, but no atmosphere, no crowd, nothing really at stake. That's the worry, I think, for James Wilson going down there if he gets stuck in that. The same goes for Evan Mooney, who's moved from St Mirren to Arsenal. He'll be in the exact same situation.
Scott, the standard of, never mind the standards of the crowds and all that, is the standards of the Gucci man bags and the aftershave and all that. That'll go up a few levels.
That'll be good.
But that's what worries me. And if I was James Wilson, I'd be frustrated at not getting a game, but I'd be putting myself out there, especially when Lawrence Shankland is still facing a good few weeks out of that side. I'd be busting out in that training pitch to show the manager, give me some more game time. I can make a difference here. And if you could make a difference to Hearts over the last 13 games of this league season, as I said, you're writing yourself in history. I just think that's one. And I would hate, do you know what I'd hate? I'd hate for them, whether Hearts win this or not this season. Imagine you're sitting there 10 years down the line and things didn't work out and you think, imagine I'd stayed. Imagine I'd scored the goals that made a difference. Or the flip side of that is, you've went down to play academy football and Hearts actually do win it, and you left that behind. I cannot see that was good advice. I just think it's been really, really badly advised. I'll
try and stick up for him a wee bit, Daniel. It's hard to turn down Premier League clubs when they come calling. No, Spurs are massive.
They're going straight into a Premier League setup.
I know.
First team setup, Scott.
I know. But listen, but James Wilson might believe that he can get down there and make an impact and work his way up to that level. Look, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate, and I'm putting myself in the boys' shoes. And
I'll put him in mute. Keep going.
It can be difficult to turn down that kind of money. That size of club. You look at that Spurs stadium, training ground. I mean, it's top notch. And I think when these young players, especially I suppose when they're not getting a game at a club here, and they get the same way Evan Mooney at St Mirren, they're getting a lot of opportunities. I think just when that call comes and everything that goes with it, it can be hard to turn down. But listen, I agree with you. I think ultimately it's probably not the right move for him at this stage in his career.
Scott, I think Evan Mooney, I totally see it. Why wouldn't you? You're at St Mirren, you're getting the invitation, the opportunity to go to Arsenal. Why wouldn't you? Right? I totally get that. And if Hearts were sitting in 4th, 5th, 6th place in the league this season, I'd probably agree with James Wilson taking that on as well. But in this particular season, when there's so much at stake, so much on the line, so much potential between now, just 13 more games to go, I just can't get my head around that one.
I know that, Scott, you're about to either start paying rent at Ibrox or get chucked out. So we'll bring this to a close. Before we do, you can see the league table there on your screen. Haven't even mentioned the Pittodrie, Keith. Aberdeen, Celtic called off.
Shame, because that game had all the ingredients as well. It was going to add to a brilliant Wednesday night. So that's a pity. And it's things are going to get tricky again. It's probably a game that Celtic would rather have got played. It's a matter right now of putting points on the board, but also I'm not sure. You were saying to me, Dan, you think the rearranged fixture might land at a really awkward point in the season as well, given them. What did you say to me?
I think the only gap in Celtic's fixtures at the minute would have them play Stuttgart away, Rangers away, then Aberdeen away, all within the space of 7 or 8 days. But that's just speculation. It's not been confirmed. So who knows?
Yeah. So
it's not ideal.
I don't know if Scott, if you've seen the pictures, it looked to me as if, and even Alan Burrows, who was desperate to get the game on, kind of admitted it was the right call. When Aberdeen knew it was the right call, I just think it would have been better if they could have made it earlier in the day. I think Aberdeen tried to get it called off at the back of 1, but the pitch inspection didn't take place till 4 o'clock, which meant I think there were some Celtic fans that would have ended up either halfway up the road or all the way up the road before they found out the game wasn't taking place. That's unfortunate. But but I don't think it was Aberdeen's fault. I think they tried to get it called as early as possible because they knew it wasn't going to be playable.
Just looking at the table there, Daniel, obviously Hibs winning late on tonight, massive win. But they're obviously at the cup as well, so Hearts and Hibs are going to have this week to prepare for this derby at Tynecastle. You think you get that on the Tuesday night, Motherwell Rangers on the Wednesday night. What a midweek! That's going to be a couple of games. That's going to be in terms of this title race.
Aye, absolutely. And for anyone that didn't see it, Hibs were 2-1 down in the 89th minute and come back to win 3-2. And they've really needed that after getting, battered by Falkirk the other day. They've been on a wee bit of a downer. So that was huge for them. Guys,
one of the new players get the winner, is that right? The Croatian boy get the winner.
Yeah, that's true. Guys, I think that maybe brings us to the end of Wednesday night's late night edition of Hotline Live. The comments again have been absolutely first class. Thanks very much for getting involved in the conversation. We appreciate it. We'll be back to do it all again at 6 p.m. tomorrow when we'll look ahead to the weekend. But for now, Keith, Scott, safe travels up the road.
Cheers, Daniel.
And Keith, sleep well.
Nighty night, boys.
Night. Thanks for watching at home. Cheers.